Greetings from San Francisco today. Welcome to The Soul of Social. I'm Karen Akavala of Human Touch Media, and with me is the creator of this web series, Becky Livingston, CEO of Penhale Marketing, and she is here to demystify some of your most pressing social media questions. Greetings, Becky.
Wow, that's a nice clear day out there at the
Oh,
bridge.
beautiful out here.
Usually you can't even see the bridge in the morning.
Right, I know. It's usually covered in fog, right? But
It is, yeah.
episode I called ahead and ordered less fog.
That's nice. You can't see Alcatraz back there, can you?
No, no, you can't. I think Alcatraz is somewhere in the...
Yeah. Anyway, welcome everyone to the Soul of Social Media.
Okay, let's jump into our questions. So Nick actually has a particularly relevant question, and he writes, any tips for creating content during a pandemic? I use a lot of local locations for photo shoots, which are now closed.
Very relevant, very timely. Lots of places are being challenged with, letting people through. So one of the things I would think about is what else can you do to talk about your business? Think about also your people. What kind of pain point, when I say your people, I'm talking about your target market. What are their pain points? What is it that you can create for them that resonates with them to help alleviate their pain point? Sometimes that can be humor. Maybe they just need some fun and some light stuff put into their life. Is there a fun way that they could share pictures of something going on in their world? Their pets, their families, their crazy haircuts. We've seen some of those things happening throughout the pandemic, but are there other things that you can be creating as a brand, particularly if you're a B2B? You want to be able to inject some seriousness with a sense of what everybody else is going through. So we've talked about some of these things on some of our other questions, but adding testimonials. What are people saying about your products and your brands? What are you could do a behind the scenes kind of thing. What's a day in the life of someone who works at your company? If you're a photographer and you're going out and you're doing photo shoots, what kinds of things do you deal with that we normally wouldn't know about? I always wonder about when I see people hang gliding or on a cliff or doing something crazy, and I'm like, so where's the photographer?
That's right.
What's that person doing? So I'd love to know how they get where they get and what they're doing to make that shot happen.
I know we just talked a few minutes offline about a photo shoot that I was recently involved in, and I actually had my unpaid assistant keep her hand in some of the photos so that I could take that and kind of put it together as it takes a lot to put these photos together, and it doesn't always work. And we had a little scene set up that kept falling over, and I couldn't get the right angle, and we needed something to prop it up, but her hand kept getting in the way, and she was trying to contort herself to sort of like not get in the picture. But I was like, no, leave it in there. Like I'll put that as like maybe an Instagram story or something to.
Right. That's a great idea.
The production of, look at this gorgeous photo. And it took us an hour just to get the photo, of things trying to balance. So stuff like that could be interesting as well.
It could. My mother was a photographer, and I always used to call myself the pack mule because I had all the equipment on me. Mm-hmm. And she's walking around with just a camera, and no one took a picture of me carrying all the other crap. Mm-hmm. And it was probably quite a comical picture because she's taller than I am. I'm kind of short, and I'm carrying all this bulky stuff, no idea what I'm carrying. And she'd say, hand me this and hand me that. And I'd have no idea what she wanted. Anyway, it was fun. So that's what you want to be thinking about.
Yeah. At one point, I actually had to get in the photo light box that I have. I had to physically get in it to adjust the backdrop because it wouldn't stay the way we had it. So, that would have been hilarious if you had snapped a picture of something like that, because it does take a lot of work to get your perfect photo.
It does. Think about you as a brand and what can you do to help your customers understand what it takes and why do things cost what they cost? Here's why they cost what they cost. Someone often asks me, how much do you charge to write something? And some people are amazed by, the cost per penny, cost per word or cost per piece. And they're like, what are you basing that on? And I'm like, well, first of all, research. Second of all, if you knew how to write as well as I do, then you'd be doing it yourself. You know, those kinds of things. You have to think about, why did I start this business? Why do I do what I do? What do I love doing about this business? Those kinds of things.
And the Instagram alone, just running an Instagram account, is so much work that I don't think people,
Yeah.
Really, if you're going to do it correctly, just the amount of dedication that it takes, and the hours of work that you could put in just to get 1 or 2 days worth of content is, something that I kind of learned along the way.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people appreciate on the outside.
So when we tie that back to the pandemic, what could we be doing? First, thinking about what your people are going through. What can you do to help? I mean, a lot of restaurants were donating food, creating food for healthcare workers. Is there something that your people in your business could be doing that could help the community? It doesn't always have to be exactly what you do for a living. For example, I do marketing. So is there an opportunity for me to write press releases for somebody as a non-paid thing, as a community support effort? Is there something I could be doing as far as marketing efforts to help support a business that might need assistance during this time? Is there something I could be doing for a charity that needs assistance during this time? There's lots of things you could be doing as far as creating content for a pandemic. I mean, everything isn't down in the dumps, horrible and serious. Bring some other things into it to make it more real, more light, and especially as long as we've been in this one. How do we get through it?
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, thank you, Nick, for your relevant question. Makes you think. And our next question comes from Maggie, and this is a plain and simple question. How often should I be posting on different platforms? I think I'm not sure a lot of people get this one right.
Yeah, this is not always the easiest one. The easiest one for me to answer that for is Twitter. It's a high maintenance tool, 7 to 10 times a day, multiple days a week. This is not a one-stop shop, one-time post, set it and forget it. It doesn't work that way. Twitter is very fast-paced. It requires a lot of attention, a lot of maintenance, and it takes a very long time to gain traction on that platform. Does that mean you have to create 7 to 10 different posts all day long? No. You can post the same content multiple times in a week, because the chance that someone's going to see it on Monday at 9 o'clock and Tuesday at 4 o'clock and Thursday at 11 o'clock isn't nearly impossible, because it's such a fast-moving platform. The same concept goes for something like Facebook. Less than 1% of your organic audience, your followers, actually see your content on Facebook on any given time. So you could post the same post multiple times in a period of 6 to 10 days. So let's say you put a post out on Tuesday morning. You could then also put the same post out on Thursday afternoon. Maybe the following Wednesday, you put it out in the evening. It's the same post, you just post it multiple times. And you mix and match your posts throughout the week. So you're not posting, 10 times a day. A maximum of 3 is probably good. But once you start to get an understanding through your analytics of when people are visiting your site, your Facebook page, then that's when you should be posting. If you see it's consistently between 4 and 6 p.m., don't post at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
There's no point. LinkedIn, it's about once a day, twice if it's really important news, relevant news. Instagram's about once a day. Pinterest, once a day at the most. LinkedIn, 4 to 5 days a week.
And would you say for the Instagram and Facebook, is that once a day every day, or do you take days off in between, or do you base that on your analytics, or how do you come up with sort of a schedule? If you can't, I've run into this situation where people ask me to run an Instagram account for them, and I tell them what's involved with that and the content that I would need to have or need to create, and it's just not possible to do every day. So maybe we do it 3 times a week, and we sort of pick days where our users are mostly engaged. So when you say once a day, are you meaning 7 days a week?
Not 7 days a week usually, unless you're a really high profile influencer. then you'd probably want to put content out more often, but you don't need to because you're an influencer. People are already following you. But if you're trying to get something off the ground, just being consistent about it. For example, I work with accountants. We could do Tax Tip Tuesday. It's always going to happen on Tuesday. It doesn't happen on Friday or Wednesday or whatever. It just happens on Tuesday. So maybe we just post on Tuesdays. Or if you have a Fun Day Friday, you just post on Fridays. Or your Marketing Mondays. You pick a day and that's your day for sure. On platforms like Instagram and LinkedIn, that works really well. Twitter, that won't work because you'll just get lost. No matter what hashtags you put on there, you're going to get lost in the noise. Facebook, it might work that way. That would probably be better for a group than a page. Mm-hmm. But yeah, picking a consistent time and day is really important, if it's just going to be one day a week. It could be a Saturday or a Sunday, if that's when your people are visiting.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you to Maggie and Nick for some good questions.
I also have an infographic on best times of day for the top 5 platforms. Okay. LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. That kind of outlines this time of day, day of week. And ironically, I think they're all on Wednesday.
Yeah, that sounds...
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. I mean, I sometimes find that if I post, twice a day on Facebook and then for some reason I don't for a few days, that the next post actually ends up doing pretty well. I don't know if that's just kind of a weird phenomenon with this particular client.
It could go back to the algorithm.
Yeah, I will. I find myself with this one with it, as far as Facebook goes, like kind of taking a little, like a day or two off every once in a while to sort of not, I'm always afraid it's the same person looking at something. I'm not ready with this.
It could be. That's why boosting posts are important, inviting new followers, telling people you're there because they might not know. Don't assume they know. I'm always fascinated when I go to a brand and I don't see their social media on their website. Mm-hmm. And I think, how are they communicating with people?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I've had that conversation too, where I said, even if you don't want to do something every single day, you still have to have it. It will give you some degree of credibility. I think it's weird if you go to a website and there's no social media presence, even if it's just, 1 or 2 platforms. I do think
at least, a boost at least about who you are and what you do. Yeah.
Agreed. Okay. Well, Becky, make sure you follow Becky's YouTube channel, subscribe to it so that you can be notified when new installments of The Soul of Social are published.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you.